kind of, you have to deal with that mentally and emotionally to accept it, right? And so once you get to the acceptance of, my career's over, this is it, then it's time to have fun, right? Like, it's like really have a good time and enjoy yourself in the process of trying to find and figure out what you want to do. If you haven't figured it out already. Now, ideally, you have already figured it out, but if you haven't, don't look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as this opportunity for exploration, and I get to kind of dip my toe in things to find out what I really like. It's like Baskin Robbins, right? You go to the ice cream and you get some scoops, right? Like, you need to know, right? And so just have fun with it, make it fun, and it should be fun. I think a lot of the pressure comes with, wanting to feel like you have it all together. And I'm gonna tell you, like, it don't matter how far you go in life, you're probably gonna never feel like that anyway. And so you shouldn't even have to try to feel like that. Just know that, like, I'm willing to have fun and enjoy myself in this journey and this process of figuring it out. And I'm gonna try a myriad of different things, and then I'm gonna figure out what's gonna work.
That's great, Corey, because I think as athletes, we feel very comfortable in the arena, like you just said. You're speaking my language, that football language right there. But when we're in the arena, that's where we feel really comfortable. But when we step outside that arena, especially for the first time, it can be a little intimidating, even if you've had this incredibly successful career, because you're entering into the business world. You're not familiar with this environment.
That I know when we were younger, my dad used to have this saying, you have to learn to lose before you learn how to win. And at the time, it used to really upset me because we were losing so much. And I'm like, why would you say that to me? But now that I'm older, I realize that you learn a lot more when you lose. Kind of like what Kellie said, you learn that, well, next time I'll do this. Or let's try this different strategy, or let's try this different play. And so it's kind of like I've been able to take that on into, like, even my entrepreneurship journey, is that, well, it's not failing, it's not losing, you're just learning. And so now it's like I set up more failures for myself, because the faster I fail, the faster I learn. And I learn what doesn't work. Because again, you don't really learn from winning, from what I've learned. And I think even Michael Jordan had this quote, like, I never lost, I just ran out of time. So I kind of even have that saying now, like, I still have a couple more years to, like, pick myself up to make my business grow. So I've been able to, again, incorporate into my business what my father had told me as a young child when I was like 9, 10 years old.
But in order to be in that top, whatever you want, 1, 2, 5, 10%, you have to play to your strengths. You have to, and even though athletes might have the same set of strengths, which are awesome, coachability and discipline, like Krystal said, and all this wonderful stuff, desire to win and all, everyone probably ranks them differently, and they're needed in different, same ingredients, different measures, And so I think it's important, in my work, what I do is I say, let's talk about an ideal situation. Absolutely ideally. Like, for example, we know you could collaborate, but maybe you don't want to anymore, or whatever it might be, right? And so people, and as I coach my own kids, my teens, what does it look like? What kind of environments? And the more we see people playing into their strengths, because grown adults don't tend to change their core competencies much, right? They could adjust and do it for a short period of time, but that's exactly what causes burnout, is adjusting from your core competency to perform over a long period of time. You either will burn out or won't be happy, or sort of a combo of that. So really it's about knowing enough about yourself or have someone work with you, like these folks, to identify the environment where you're going to thrive, and then go out and find the environment.
And I think as athletes, when you're thinking about those skills, they may not be directly stated. You may look at this company you want to work for and think, well, how am I going to get there? I may not have exactly X, Y, or Z, but if you really look at what you've lived through in your sport and in your career, you'll begin to pull out those, gosh, I remember when, I had I thought I was going to win nationals and I got last. And what did that teach me? And you can begin to kind of build that story for yourself, because I think, to what Mariel was saying, the ego drive and that desire to win, those are things that employers look for, and that will help you be successful when you do move on, because you're going to have already built just a resume for yourself.